We discussed last cycle about a study that was done on how we can mitigate some of the erosion that occurs along the East Coast, not just New Jersey, but
all along the coast.
right,
Sure.
or all, as I was indicating, all the way up. And there were some ideas that were proposed. It was Army Corps Army Corps engineers and the New Jersey DEP. And it came up with this 600, 700 page document, and it had all these ideas. And I was floating some of them, like, hey, what do you think about storm gates? What do you think about this? And it was some positive here and opposition there. And I was like, well, we have to figure out how do we get people to the table to figure out what is the best way to do this. And let's preserve our homes. Let's preserve our beaches. By the way, let's preserve our economic interests in keeping our shore, which we're renowned for, safe and replenish when we lose it. But more importantly, let's stop it from getting wiped out in the first place. I'm open to ideas. I know we had that report, and I would like to see us implement some of the ideas as long as everybody's in favor of them. That's the question, right? How, and it doesn't be everybody. It has to be the majority, right? And so how do we do that? How do we get people to understand what's in the report? We don't want, I'm a lawyer, so I'm weird into reading 700 some pages, but I can't expect people to do that, but we need to be able to give them, short summaries of this is what we have. And I think it was, oh boy, the money is escaping me, but I remember the amount of money. And I thought that, okay, well, we could maybe do a partnership between the federal government and state government to make sure that we have the money to implement some of these ideas. It doesn't have to be all of them, but let's do something. As we sit here today, nothing has been done on that report. Not one thing. And so we're still doing, like you indicated, the same thing, expecting different outcome. That's the definition of insanity, right? So I'm open to that, and I will work on that upon getting in office, bringing the stakeholders to the table, and saying we have to do something. Again, I know that this is much bigger than South Jersey, but it affects us the most.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to make sure that we do that, and I will address that issue. If we can't do everything in that report, let's do some of it that's going to mitigate the loss.
I just saw a picture on North Wildwood. How their beach is almost gone.
Yeah, and then you look at Wildwood. Wildwood, look how much beach they have now. If you go back and look in historical references, that beach was not that big, so it's getting dumped there. And we can see the results of the problem. We have to figure out how do we stop the problem, or at least address the problem. It may be the first thing we do, or the second thing we do, or the third thing we do don't work. But it doesn't mean that we can't keep trying to do things. And I'm not one for throwing money at things. I'm trying to say that we have to figure out the best way to go. And one of the things I could promise you is that I will not support a tax increase. We can't afford another tax increase. There are some methods that I think we can do to bring our tax burden down, at least our property tax burden down. But we could talk about those as well. But the reality here is I want to make sure that we are investing in our economic well-being and our economy, and that really, for many of us, addresses or deals with the shore.
It's time for Tim.